Yeah.
Better be good now.
Yeah, we're okay. Are you on yet, David?
Not on, just over the telephone. I haven't made it through the internet yet.
Are you still trying?
I am.
Okay.
How long do you expect us to be, Dale?
Probably
2-3 hours?
Depending on questions, probably about 45 minutes altogether, 30 to 45.
How many people we got on the call?
10 people.
Okay, very good.
Well, that includes George, so...
I'm not a person. I'm going to turn the music back on. Careful.
No, please.
Something nice and how about some progressive jazz? There you go.
No, nothing progressive, please. That's not a good. No, that's not nice. Well, David, are you on the screen yet?
Well, April 23rd, I found the link, and when I go to click join, it doesn't join.
April 28th.
It should be join.freeconferencecall.com/D.O. Parish is the link.
Right. And I've got join the meeting up in front of me, and I've
you need to enter your email, your name and email.
Yeah, freeconferencecall.com/join/D.O. Parish.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. You know, this has worked in the past, and I've not done...
Yeah, I don't know why it's not working now.
I haven't done anything different than I've done in the past.
It really would be helpful if you could be part of this.
Right, actually, the link for being on screen is www.freeconferencecall.com/join/D.O. Parish.
And that's the website that I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it just had me put in my name and click join, and then the screen came up. But anyway.
Right now, you should see it waiting for presenter to share their screen, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
maybe you can get started and you can just keep on trying. You got...
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do the screen sharing here, and
Woo-hoo! Wow, nice.
All right, I'm on.
Oh, you're on.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you see, David?
I see welcome. I see the Indiana flag.
All right. You're there.
Yep.
Okay, we ready to go then, huh? Well,
yeah.
Do you want to say something, David?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, just want to welcome everyone. As you know, David Waters and I have been appointed co-state directors by our former state director, Diane Gomez. And Diane has moved on to bigger and greater responsibilities at the national level. How many of you...
This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Please.
How many of you saw the national call last night?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I was in.
Did you see Diane was in that group picture?
Yep.
Yep.
Where they all got together. I saw her there. So anyway, we do plan on staying in contact with her. We don't want to lose contact with Diane, so she'll still remain a part of our group. But and our plan is that we're going to conduct a state call like this every month going forward here, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more later on. But just want to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. And what we would like to, here's our agenda for tonight. And these are the topics that we want to try and address tonight. And of course, you're welcome to ask any questions that you may have. We're going to talk about the regions where we're going to organize the state into regions, and that's going to then open up region captain opportunities, leadership opportunities, and we'll touch on region captains. We also want to convey to you our expectations. These are expectations that we have for all the positions in Convention of States throughout our state, all the way from the supporter all the way up to the region captain. So we'll go through those expectations. Then I want us to touch on the strategic goals that we have for the state this year. And then lastly, we'll get into more about some of the upcoming webinars, some reports, and some future objectives that we want to get into at a later date. So let's get started. This is kind of crude, but these are the regions that we have set up for the state. And there are 9 regions. There's the Northwest, North Central, the Northeast region, which is where I came from, the Western region, Eastern, the Indianapolis region. Then we have the Southwestern region, Southeastern region, and the South region. 9 regions. And you can see to the right here, that's the breakdown of the districts that would be assigned in each region. Anybody have any questions on that?
Dale, this is Peter. Northwest. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking 1, 2, 3, and I was looking for 4, but they're not in numeric order.
No. No.
All right.
Okay.
Never mind.
All righty. Anybody else have any questions?
Dale, can you move your toolbar over so we can see the whole list on the right?
Well, I just moved it up there. Hold on here. Let's try that.
There we go.
Get it?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Now you'll note the Indianapolis region has the most districts, but as you can see, they're all clustered together. And this was the region that David was previously region captain, and I didn't know. I pretty much divided the state up like this, but I didn't know how to handle the Indianapolis area. But David said that was a workable area the way it was, the way he had it situated here. So we went with that many districts then in the Indianapolis region. Okay. Now, if I can find where I can move on here, there it is down here. So now that we have 9 regions, that, as we mentioned earlier, that opens up opportunities for region captains. And we have 3 region captains already in place. Peter Youngsma, am I pronouncing that right, Peter?
I pronounce the J like a Y, Youngsma.
Youngsma, excuse me,
Yep.
okay.
The Dutch pronounce it.
Peter Youngsma is the region captain for the Northwest region. Paul Phillips, region captain for my previous region, the Northeast region. And then John Ackerman is the region captain for the Eastern region. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions then that are open. And we are open to, we're looking for good candidates to fill those region positions. And so if anyone wants to be considered, please let us know. You have anything, David, you want to add on that?
Well, at this point, the Indianapolis region looks big with as far as number of regions, but as you can see from the map, geographically, it's pretty small. It just happens to be that that's a large concentration of where people live, and that's
right.
how they've apportioned all the districts out. So Indianapolis is central, not only geographically, but politically. And it's important for us to try to especially develop a tight group of people around the State House, quite literally surrounding the State House. We are the vanguard in this area of the state to address any opposition that presents itself in that State House. So it's been a challenge to find people in this large metropolitan area. I mean, it's a blessing that we got that many people in one sense, but then it's also a curse because people can identify themselves as wanting to be a leader, but then they can just disappear off into the masses because you don't see them at the grocery store, you don't see them at the baseball game, you don't see them at the basketball game like you do in some smaller communities. It's easy to hide in the herd. So, nevertheless, I think if we're going to, develop a strike force, a strike team, or whatever you want to call it, to be ready to step foot inside that State House, Indianapolis has got this Indianapolis area, and however many is that, 16 districts there?
Yeah, I believe it was 16.
So those 16 districts, we've got to get some strong people in place, and it has been a challenge to find people to step up and even return an email.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, like we said, if there's anyone that would be interested, would like to be considered for one of these region captain positions, please let us know. So I want to move on to expectations, and I think this is something very important, and we want to try to communicate this to everyone. We do have a document that goes through this, and that we're more than willing to share with everyone. But these are basically the minimum and desired expectations that we have for the different positions within Convention of States in our state. And I'll go through these first two, supporter and motivated volunteer. And I don't know, David, do you have the document in front of you? You want to go through the district captain one?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, but I'll start it out here. So the first position that we have in Convention of States is the supporter. That's the entry level position, and at minimum, we expect, of course, the supporter to sign the petition, and so that their name and address are very clear, and then we can then add that person into the database. And then the desired, what is desired of the supporter, of a good supporter, would be to tell family members and friends about Convention of States, and then invite them to sign the petition and be a supporter of Convention of States. Now we come to then the motivated volunteer. And the motivated volunteer, the minimum would be, of course, all the expectations that we have for a supporter. And also at minimum, for the motivated volunteer would be to receive and read messages from your district captain about ongoing events and reply to that district captain when appropriate. Also at a minimum for the motivated volunteer would be to make an effort to attend at least 3 events, Convention of States events, per year as your schedule would allow. The desired, some of the desired traits of the motivated volunteer would be to keep an ear open for opportunities where we could increase supporters, communicate opportunities to your district captain, and then assist the district captain with events where possible. How does that sound to everyone?
Pretty clear so far.
Okay so far?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to, I'm sorry, who? Did someone have a question? Okay. Okay, district captain. Now, David, you want to go through that one?
Yeah, sure. District captain, as you can see, continuing on with how motivated volunteers pick up what supporters did, district captains pick up what motivated volunteers do. So the expectations are building on one another. And then be able to use Slack as our primary mode of communication, download that thing. And as you can see tonight, I am not a technological wizard. Okay, so I have trouble with technology myself. I'm learning as I go. And but nevertheless, I'm willing to learn. So Slack was new to me, and it seems like every time I launch that application, I learn a new feature about it. And same way with doing video conferencing, new to me. Haven't had the need to learn video conferencing until I got involved with Convention of States, and I'm glad that I've had that opportunity to learn that technology. So it requires a little bit of open-mindedness and willingness to push the envelope and step outside that comfort level and be willing to communicate with people in a mode or a form that you're not comfortable with. So the bottom line is that willingness to communicate. And if you get an email sent to you, a text message, a voicemail or whatnot, respond in a reasonable time. Even if it's like, I'm sorry, I can't make it, or some sort of response to show that you're still willing to engage. And it's because if you don't hear anything from somebody, either positively or negatively, I'm the person sending it, I'm going to assume that you're not interested anymore and you don't want to be bothered. So that minimum expectation is pretty important if we're going to develop a tight team, a team that can respond to, gosh darn it, to any potential threat to our Convention of States effort. Desired is grow the grassroots by 20%. So if you've got 100 supporters in your district, then by the end of the year, we'd like to see 120. And some of those are going to be passive. They're going to sign up on their own. They're going to get on the sign the petition either through Facebook or Twitter or however they come across it. And then some of it would have to be out shaking the trees and rattling the bushes on your own. Interact with your volunteers, maintain a communication with them on a regular basis, attend regional meetings, either one way or another, form or fashion. If you can be there in person, great. Support the state directors in whatever effort that we may have. Like there was a national effort not too long ago to put postcards out. So the state director then received postcards from the national folks and then had to disseminate those down to state supporters. Hold town hall meetings, set them up, kind of be the point person. And if the district captain isn't physically able to make that meeting, at least, have people set up to come in and run the meeting, looking for any opportunity. Talking to a Rotary Club, talking to a Kiwanis Club, talking to a Republican supporter group. I went with Diane out to Fayette County, and we went to the Republican women's group. So it was just a group of Republican women that met in downtown Connorsville.
David,
maintain your personal knowledge and growth, and then use the follow-up tool to help follow up with anybody that signs the petition or joins our effort.
I just wanted to also mention on the town hall meetings, I think the town hall meetings are a good opportunity to get volunteers involved or supporters as far as that's concerned. But you may have a volunteer in your district that is very good at making presentations, or you could let that person lead the meeting that night. Do whatever you can, or lead a portion or an introduction or something, a part of the meeting that helps get them involved and keeps them motivated. So, okay, any questions or comments on the district captain? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, let's move on then to the region captain. Of course, the region captain, the first thing, the minimum would be all the district captain expectations. Then, as far as what would be desired of a region captain, seek qualified volunteers for district captain leadership positions. This is very important now, this next one. Serve as the district captain for districts without a district captain until that position is filled. So, region captain, you've got to fill the role of for those districts without a district captain until you can get someone in the position. The next one is to establish region goals as relates to grassroots growth, legislator relationships, and education, which will mirror the state goals. We're going to talk about those in just a minute here. And finally, be willing and capable of video conferencing via Slack or through free conference call with the state co-directors or national individuals. Anybody have any questions or comments on those expectations?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Is a beard required for that position?
No, nor is there any implication as to the weight requirement here.
But you do have to get a hat. You have to wear a
Oh,
hat.
you do have to have a hat. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. That's okay. Keep the hat. Roll.
The only thing I would need here would be the beard and the hat. I would qualify weight-wise, but okay, we won't go any further there.
Fine. I don't have a beard anymore.
You don't? Really?
Yep. Summertime. Maybe too hot.
Oh, geez, I probably wouldn't know you if I saw you on the street then, would I?
Yep, I get that a lot. I got a story, but I'm not going to hold up the time on that.
Okay.
Well, George, you looked like a svelte Santa Claus last time I saw you.
Svelte. Okay, I like that.
All right. The state goals, the strategic goals, you've heard us kind of make reference as we've gone along here, but I want to specifically address these. Number one, grow the grassroots, and that's continue petition signing and getting more people involved. And the goal, as we mentioned a little earlier, is we want to grow the grassroots in 2017 by 20%. And as David alluded, some of that's going to come from just our national advertising and national programs and from the website. But you're going to have to seek out people on your own in order to get to that 20% growth rate. And the next one, strengthen legislator relationships. And we're going to talk a little bit more about something that David mentioned in regard to this, but we have to be able, our role now as a past state is we have to do what's necessary to combat any rescission efforts to rescind the resolution that we've passed, and which means we need to continue to maintain our good relationships with the legislators that have supported us, as well as affirm our relationship with any new legislators that come on board. And that'll be something we'll have to do continuously. And then last thing is to educate. And that's, we want to do that through the town hall meetings. And we're working on developing a template for a town hall meeting, something that you can all use to as a guide as to developing your own town hall meetings. Any questions on that area?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Dale, I just wanted to mention that we got a meeting. Dan Fisher, is Dan on the call tonight?
No, I don't think I saw him.
Okay. Dan has stepped up to be the district captain for Indiana House 90, and Representative Mike Speedy is our state representative, and we're going to meet with him on May 3rd, Wednesday at 10:30 at a Starbucks here in the south side of Indianapolis. And
Good.
And last year I got to know Representative Speedy to the point where he was fine if I called him Mike. And he'd see me in the hallways there at the State House, and he'd, say, "Hey, David, how you doing?" And gave me the heads up one day when I told him that I was trying to meet with Representative Kirchhofer, which is House District 89, and Rick Hodge is the district captain. Is Rick on the phone tonight?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. So anyway, he just wanted to. That day he saw me in the hallway. He's like, don't mention my name in front of Representative Kirchhofer. And I'm, well, why? He goes, well, we just voted against her in support, having the Republican caucus support Aaron Freeman for the empty seat that Pat Miller, the Senator Patricia Miller, was going to retire. And Aaron Freeman and Cindy Kirchhofer were both vying for the Republican caucus's support to run for that state Senate seat. So, Mike says, you're going to go see Representative Kirchhofer. Well, don't mention my name because she's not happy with me right now because I voted for Aaron Freeman. And Aaron Freeman now is our state senator. So I think I'm going to ask Mike, during that meeting, if he would, start talking about convention of states, if he would maybe next time he holds some sort of meeting that he might call through his capacity as a state representative, if you give us a heads up, maybe give us an opportunity to address the crowd that he may attract at his event. So strengthen these legislator relationships with the goal, the long-term goal of having those representatives and those senators, before they even take office, when they're candidates, when they're a candidate for that office, be able to articulate their position on the Convention of States and demonstrate their knowledge of how this process works and what their responsibilities are as a state leader, and sell it to the crowd. That's what I kind of see as that long-term vision of what our effort is in making this a process that is just normal, a normal part of our political process.
All right, great. Okay, moving on. Want to talk a bit about webinars. You all should be familiar, I think, with all the national webinars that are available. I think I've covered all of them here in the national category, all the way through to Mark's battle cry on Sunday evenings. But I want to introduce to you tonight that we're going to, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to hold a state call. We're going to do it in the form of a webinar every month, and it will occur on the fourth Wednesday of the month, and our next one will be May 24th. And like I said, we're going to do it in a webinar format, and we'll discuss in our first one on May 24th. We're going to interview Rodney Huckleberry, who is the director for the past states. For those of you that may not know, all the states that have passed a resolution, which we are one of those, all the past states kind of form into a region itself, and Rodney is the director of that group. So I'm going to bring him in, and we'll cover, in these webinars, we'll cover some state business, we'll talk a little bit about some of the basics, Convention of States basics, but we'll get into an interview or something educational as part of the webinar. So I wanted to get Rodney in here first to talk about what a past state can do, because I've encountered this as a region captain, and I'm even encountering it now, where there are district captains and other individuals that are asking, what do we do now as a past state? Is there anything for us to do? And believe me, there's a lot of work to do, and we do have a role in this. So I wanted to bring him in, and that would be the first interview and the first webinar that we conduct. Okay, any questions on that?
Sounds good.
No, that's good.
Okay, some reports here. Wanted to just touch on some things. David, I'm going to have Paul Phillips. Paul, you still on?
Yes, sir.
I want Paul to talk about the Indiana plan, and then David, if you could talk about petition signers and the LMS system.
Sure.
Okay. So, and then I'll touch on the grassroots growth. But Paul, you want to talk about the Indiana plan? Take it away.
Certainly. So the Indiana plan was something initiated by Diane a couple of months ago. And what she was looking for is us to get a survey of our grassroots on their interest in certain potential amendments to be proposed at the Article 5 convention. So what we've done is we've had a team that's taken a look at potential amendments, and we considered a number of different sources. We looked into Mark Levin's book, of course, The Liberty Amendments, the Texas plan that Governor Greg Abbott had put together, a book by Randy Barnett, another advisor to the Convention of States. He has a book called Restoring the Lost Constitution that had a number of amendments in there. We also included the amendments that came out of the Convention of States simulation, and some amendments that we found in state constitutions, and then some proposals from the Slack channels. So altogether, when we were combining duplicates, we came up with about 23 potentials. So we didn't come up with anything new. We just surveyed existing sources. And our task then was to whittle that down to a list of 10, and we failed at that because we got 11. We had to come up with one more. But we've got a working list of 11 that we're trying to develop into a survey, which we will issue to all of our grassroots, all of our petition signers. And we'll look for them to give us a gauge of how important each amendment is to them. So eventually we can develop something we can share with our legislators when the convention comes about, so they get an idea of what the grassroots in Indiana would like to see them talk about at the convention. And that's kind of where we're at, is we're at the point of working out the survey and getting that in a final format, and then finally we'll have to figure out when the best timing is to present that to our grassroots.
Okay.
So that's just a summary of where we're at, and I'd take any questions if you have any. John Ackerman, do you have anything you wanted to add on that? I know you're on that committee too, as well as you are too, Jack.
Yep. Well, I don't need to add anything really. I think Paul said it well.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a question real quick. George, hey, did you guys decide on using the, for like that question 10, did you decide on the ranking or versus the rating system for the different amendments?
Yeah, we haven't made a final decision yet, George, but you know, so far we're thinking leaving that ranking piece out because it gets a little too complicated.
And just do the rating, like rate each one as far as...
Right, and we'll get a ranking naturally from that.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I sat in on the committee meeting last Saturday, and I was really impressed. They really have done some very good work on these amendments. So they've really done some great work. Okay, David, You want to get into petition signers?
Sure. Petition signers, pretty straightforward, you'd think. Somebody signs a petition and they land in the follow-up tool. However, it's not really that straightforward, I think. Because some people, how do they come across that petition? Are they coming across through their Facebook or through a Twitter or through a friend or, however they're coming across it maybe online, and they might be just reading it on their own and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And they sign the petition and a week or two later, they don't remember it, and we contact them through that follow-up tool, and they may or may not remember whether or not they signed it. So some of these petition signers don't want to shy away from them, but that is one way for a person to land in the follow-up tool is as a petition signer. And we really want to have a good quality number of or a good quality of signers. Meaning, I've got an example. When I was a kid, there was a push in Knox County to have a man-made lake, and it was a political fight. And so to get the issue on the ballot, we had to go collect signatures. And of course, the opposition then wanted to challenge the effort by the quality of the petition signers. They wanted to make sure these people actually existed. And that's kind of, I think, what we want to do. I think as we continue to grow and gain support around the country, there might be more of an effort to have people attack us and say, oh, well, you claim you have 16,500 or so petition signers here in Indiana. Do they really exist? Let's look at those names. Let's go and do an audit to see if these people really exist or if you're just padding your numbers. I'm not sure what we can do about that at a state effort, but other than to reach out to these folks through that follow-up tool as best we can and to determine the quality of that individual who claims to have signed that petition. Legislative management system, it's a different database even. That's a tool where we can track our 150 legislators. We got 100 state representatives. We got 50 state senators. So all 150 legislators on an individual basis can be tracked. You can type in all sorts of information about these legislators, their legislative assistants, names, their telephone numbers, their email addresses, any notes of any interactions that you may have had with either the legislator or the legislative assistant. Another valuable tool is through that legislative management system, you can print a list of those petition signers. And and you can have so when you go and meet with your legislator or a district captain or a motivated volunteer or whoever, but you got to have access to that legislative management system. So a leadership position is needed. And so whoever's going to go meet with that legislator, it might be a good idea to at least have this very summarized list. And all it would show would be the name, the address, telephone number, line by line by line on a piece of paper.
That's a very powerful piece. I've used that before to talk to legislators, and that really gets their attention. That list of supporters that are constituents of theirs. Yeah, and that's why I think it's important for us to have good quality names on that petition list, because if you're going to hand that to your legislator, and especially if it's somebody that's waffling, or let's say you're going to someone that had voted against the resolution,
but you're nevertheless making contact with them to let them know that we're still out here and we're expecting them to represent our interests. And
David?
Yeah.
David, this is Jack.
Sure.
It used to be that we had to have this information. I think Diane had to go through the home office to get those. Do we have access to those in a different way now, or do we still have to make that? In other words, we would get a list of maybe 150 names to pass on, but I don't think we got those independently. I think we had to go through the home office to do that. Is that still the case, or do you know?
It is now available through the legislative management system. You can download that as a CSV file, import it into Microsoft Excel, and print it right there at the comfort of your home desktop computer.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And it's a cumbersome task. You can't just print the whole list. It goes page by page, and then you have to, codify it. But it can be done. And the point being, if you're going to hand that off to your legislator, and then let's just say that legislator goes and has one of their minions, try to contact some of those names on that list, do an ad hoc audit. Boy, wouldn't that look bad if, we tried 20 names and we could only get a hold of half of them and prove that they exist. So I'm just concerned about it. But nevertheless, that legislative management system, very important. It can be a very useful tool in maintaining an idea of where our legislative branch of government stands, because it will be a future legislative, it'll be a future General Assembly that we're going to be dealing with, and managing those people is a challenge, and this database will aid in that effort.
Okay. As far as the grassroots growth, the only thing I wanted to mention here is that one of our SIAs, Tim Heidenreich, is working on a grassroots growth tracking report so we can see by region our progress toward reaching our goal of a 20% growth in the grassroots. So that report's being worked up now, so you'll be on the lookout for that come very soon, I think. Okay. Where's my little thingy here? There it is. Okay, just wanted to mention some of the future objectives, goals, tasks, however you want to say, some things that we want to look at down the line going forward here. And our state website and our state Facebook page, these are both, I believe, very underutilized tools at our disposal. So we're going to look at trying to make better use of those two tools, the state website and state Facebook page. The strike team. Now, David, you want to touch on that? You mentioned it earlier, but I thought maybe you might want to explain that a little bit more.
Sure. Right now, it's like most things, it's fluid in its development. It isn't necessarily a leadership position or whatnot. Anybody. It doesn't matter what your designation is. It is a group of people that, when activated and if needed, can pack a committee room in an effort to stand against any opposition or stand against a resolution that's trying to work its way through to rescind. So, for instance, in Tennessee, the legislator in Tennessee who had been a supporter offered up a resolution to rescind Tennessee's application. And we need a group of people that are in tune, that are that are contactable and maintain that line of communication, and a pool of people to draw from. So if we need 10 or 15 people to go down and sit in a committee room, that we can be comfortable that they're going to show.
So it's kind of like a volunteer fire department.
Exactly. We got to go put that fire out. And it was, Senator Buck last year that walked into that committee room planning to vote no. And when he saw the level of support and the number of people in that committee room wearing Convention of State buttons, he later told Diane it was the fact that all those people were standing in that committee room that changed his no vote to a yes. So it is very important to be able to have a team to get in there and show that support.
Okay. All right. Executive committee, that's going to be like Jack and the other directors, coalition directors, liaisons, coordinators, people that are in these positions. We want to bring them together as a group and work on understanding more of what they do, as well as communicating that then to the rest of the people in the state. Operational committee, that's going to be the region captains and the two co-state directors. A statewide gathering. I've heard that mentioned to us a number of times, that people would like to see us put together some sort of a statewide gathering, a social event of some kind. Don't know what that might look like right now, but that's something we want to look at and see if we can bring about.
Party!
Huh?
Party!
Party, that's right. Volunteer positions. We're looking at, I alluded to this earlier, but we're looking at creating more volunteer jobs and positions that you can get your volunteers into to keep them interested in the movement. Town hall meetings, well, we've talked about that. And delegate selection, and that's advising our legislators as to the process of delegate selection when the time comes. So, any questions or comments there? Okay, well, we're to the end here, and if you're from my region, you've seen this many times. This is one of my favorite quotes. Comes from Rita Dunaway, our national legislative strategist, and that is, the founders gave us a legitimate path to save our liberty by using our own state governments to impose binding restraints on the federal government. It is time to dust off the tool the founders gave us in Article 5 and get started. So that's what we have for you tonight. Any comments or questions?
Good show. Good show.
Thank you. Okay. I'll get the recording out to everyone, and you'll be
Slack, I guess.
Pardon me?
You'll post it in Slack, I guess.
Yeah, I'll put it in Slack as well as email.
Oh, okay.
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 All right, guys. David, you have anything else you want to say?
No, thanks. Thanks for waiting on me. Thanks for your patience, and nice to talk to all of you.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. God bless you guys. Good night.
God bless
Good night.
you. Hey.